while I don't wish indictment on anybody, but I will say, Comey, I do remember in 2016 when you bogusly came out at the last minute in October, right before the election, how Hillary was back under investigation again for her emails, which in a close election like that may have tipped the scales. Because if you remember, like, I think Wisconsin came down to like really, I think a couple thousand votes, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, the 3 swing states she lost, I could be exaggerating, I think it was like less than 10,000 votes combined. And so when you put something out like that right before the election, and then to have this man that you cape for come after you like this, I'm not saying I wish the indictment on you, but
Get indicted every day, B.
you was in the FBI. You tough.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. It's your boy Ferg, joined with my co-host Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, what it do?
What up, though? Indicted! So James Comey has been indicted. For those of you who don't know who he is, he is the previous director of the FBI under Joe Biden. And so Donald Trump said he is going to indict him. I don't even know really what they indicted him for, but it's just Trump trying to go after his political enemies, as we have seen him do in the past. And now it's escalating. So this is the next step in Trump's march towards authoritarianism. So just want to throw that out there. Comey came out, he did a press conference or released a statement basically saying that, he knew that was going to be the price of standing up against Trump, and he's looking for his day in court. He's excited for it because he knows he didn't do anything wrong. And looking at just what's in it, like I said, I don't really know what they indicted him for. That's the problem. And so I don't even know if it's going to get past a grand jury, but if it does, I'm pretty sure he's going to get exonerated on it, but we'll see. You never know with Donald Trump's Justice Department at this point, because I won't even say just the Justice Department, Donald Trump's judicial branch, because this isn't just the normal judicial branch. This is Donald Trump's judicial branch, and he owns it, and he can kind of do what he wants to do and tell them what he wants to do with the judiciary as well. So we'll see if they push back and call them to the carpet for trying to do this, but I doubt it. I really doubt they'll do anything on that. So couple other things that I have that's just been on my mind.
Do you think he's going to get indicted?
Who? Trump or Comey?
Comey.
Comey, he's been indicted, so they brought up charges.
Do you think,
like, find him guilty? No, I don't. I think he'll get out of the trial just fine. I think this is a little bit of political theater for Donald Trump to say he did it and to look tough. And so, but I really don't think they have enough really to do anything. When you saw the jury, the guy who threw the sandwich at the ICE folks, they let him off. If they let him off, I really don't think Comey did anything that could really get him convicted, is what we're probably more so talking about. So I don't think he'll get convicted. I think he's just indicted at this point. So if Young Thug can get off, Comey can get off. So other than that, man, Jimmy Kimmel's back. So I know last week we were like Jimmy Kimmel's off there. He's back now, and he's officially fully back. There were some holdout stations that said that they weren't going to let him come back. But after people started calling their sponsors and saying, hey, I'm not going to shop at your spots unless you go ahead and bring Jimmy Kimmel back. So they went ahead and they backed down. And so now he is fully back on all stations before he got pulled off the air. So good job on that one.
Did you get to catch the show?
Yeah, it was good. Or at least I watched the monologue. I didn't watch the show, but yeah, I watched the monologue, and it was spot on, right? Like he called it out. It's like Trump is trying to silence the media, and he's coming after anybody who's against him, and people should be scared of that. And I think we really need to make sure that we are watching what this administration is doing. He just announced, I think, that he's trying to send troops into Utah, of all places. And so it's crazy. He wants to send troops everywhere. He's using the military as his own personal Gestapo and SS. And so, people kind of call us out or call people out for saying that Trump's a Nazi. Trump's a Nazi. He's a fascist. If he's not a Nazi because the Nazi's a party, he's a fascist though. I think people don't want to see it, or they want to ignore it. But I mean, we just got to really be truthful when we say that he's a fascist, and I think he's okay with that. He knows that he's a fascist, and we know the Heritage Foundation is on 100% a fascist regime, and they're trying to get us closer and closer to what Earth X is. For anybody who's watching Peacemaker, that's what they want. They want Earth X, where the Nazis won, and so that's exactly what they want to see. Watch Peacemaker too. It's hilarious for anybody who hasn't watched that. That's all. Oh, one more thing that I do have. China is releasing their own kind of H-1B visa. You know, Trump is pulling those back. He's not issuing any at this point, or very few. And so China said that they're going to release one called the K visa, and it is an alternative. But they're going to start getting a lot of immigrants that would take that knowledge and experience that they have and bring it to America. They're going to start going to China for that, and that is again scary. When China and Russia are doing joint exercises, they had an incursion into not U.S. airspace, but at least our early warning space where it's international waters. But everybody knows that once you hit that, then we're going to respond to it because we think you may be coming near or too near our airspace. And that was a joint mission with China and Russia when that happened. So it's...
Didn't China recently kind of bat Venezuela? If I'm like,
yeah,
then they kind of put some like,
yeah, they
also scary.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of the world is lining up against the US right now, and it's countries that we might have a little bit of tension with, but not necessarily were our enemies. And anybody like that is starting to turn towards other places from the United States. So unless you're a very, very close ally of ours, and even a lot of our very close allies are starting to like not really pay attention to us or not lean on us as much. But if you're anybody outside of that circle, then you're pretty much on the outskirts, and they're starting to go other places for that.
Do you think the world looks at us differently this go round than the first?
100%. I definitely think the world is looking at us like, okay, you guys made a mistake, right? He talked a good game. We see, after he didn't make the second, he didn't get reelected, so he didn't get I think that is where people are like, okay, America's smarter than, but when he got reelected and the stuff that he's doing now, I really do think the world is looking at the United States like, okay, y'all are idiots. It's not that y'all elected an idiot and kind of made a mistake. Y'all are idiots. And so I really do think the U.S. is getting looked at a lot differently now.
Yeah, I think any sympathy we had in the past from allies and, just not even in political, like allied citizens, it's America is showing their true colors. And I think for a lot of them, it's like, yeah, I can't. Things that they would have overlooked or even politically overlooked first term, I think they have accepted that whatever happens to America is, hey, this is what they asked for. Majority of people are supporting this craziness. We've gone so far down the rabbit hole that I don't think they knew he was fascist. They knew he was this crazy person, but in general, Americans gonna stop him from doing the stuff he's doing today. And now that he's doing it, getting away with it, and there's so much support, I think there's a lot of people out there looking at us like, well, it is what it is. But was that it? Was that the last thing? You're on mute.
Well, I said, yeah, that's it. And I took up 10 minutes. Jeez, I didn't mean to go that long. My bad, Buff. You got it.
I asked a question, so Buff, what you got?
First and foremost, this first nugget is kind of for another podcast. Truth Be Told Sports, man. I want to give them some flowers and congratulate them on getting their MMA fighter, Brooke Evans, they had as a guest on their show, man. That was a big deal for them. She's debuting in her first fight coming up. I forgot when the date is, but it was cool to see them get a big guest like that. And I would love to ask you brothers over there, you gentlemen, what y'all think about Brady and his dual role as analyst, commentator, and part NFL owner, because commentators get access to teams and things. And as an owner, you're talking to a certain coach or whatever, and they're like, yeah, saying things that the masses don't know about. That can be an edge for your team with that knowledge and stuff. So The NFL is saying that they've restricted his access to such things, but he kind of let it spill out during one of the games that he has been able to get some of that access and like revealing certain nuggets, man. So once again, Brady is like the NFL's bad boy. You know, the Flakegate, the Patriots had Spygate, and each time the NFL is kind of like raced to cover it up, like they burned the tapes during Spygate. We never heard any real information from that. And now, again, I think they're kind of protecting him. I don't see another sports league that would allow this to happen. So once again, Roger Goodell, step up and do something, brother. But for us, man, God, Razi mentioned Comey. I guess the short version is he's being charged for lying. He's indicted for lying, alleging that he exaggerated and made up things in order to get Trump indicted. And while I don't wish indictment on anybody, but I will say, Comey, I do remember in 2016 when you bogusly came out at the last minute in October, right before the election, how Hillary was back under investigation again for her emails, which in a close election like that may have tipped the scales. Because if you remember, like, I think Wisconsin came down to like really, I think a couple thousand votes, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, the 3 swing states she lost, I could be exaggerating, I think was like less than 10,000 votes combined. And so when you put something out like that right before the election, and then to have this man that you cape for come after you like this. I'm not saying I wish the indictment on you, but
niggas get indicted every day, B.
Yeah, you was in the FBI. You tough nigga. But no, other than that, man, I've said this frequently on this show, man. But I have to say it again. I'm continuously amazed at how the Republican Party keeps the Democrats on defense. And it's not just this administration, it's not just this Congress. My whole life that I've paid attention to politics, I feel like the Democrats spend the majority of their time defending how the Republicans paint them or trying to meet them on their terms. And what I mean by that, everybody loved Bill Clinton. He moved to the right because the Republicans painted him and them as soft on crime. So then you get 3 strikes bill. You get Obama probably illegally. I mean, we criticized Trump for blowing up the drug dealers in the boat. Obama did that a lot with his drones overseas. He killed a lot of people. He killed a couple of Americans that were suspected terrorists, all in the name of looking tough on terrorism. And then you look at now, and it's like they're making them vote on whether or not to honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk. Like that, when we're headed for a shutdown. As a matter of fact, when you hear this show, depending on when you listen to it next week, we may be in a shutdown. It just continues to amaze me how they're just always on defense. I feel like they never have the Republicans back against the wall. I know we always say it's because Republicans are better at politics, and I think that's true, but like when are they going to try to get a turnover and get on offense for a change, man? We need some turnovers.
Right.
Can you recover a fumble, man?
One of those things that your defense is good, but it's always on the field.
Yeah. Even when they get on, like, all right, they got them on 3rd and 13. Nope. First down again, baby. It's like, damn, get off the field,
it's not
baby.
Even, it's just they playing with their own rules. Starting 13, they can get a sack and like, yeah, we just gonna keep the ball.
That wasn't 3rd down.
As a matter of fact, we just scored a touchdown.
Fake news.
You know, it's you got replay and everything. It doesn't matter. So they just don't care. I mean, I was watching something the other day, and it was just talking about they don't care. I don't know if it's a comedian or whatever, but it's like I don't even understand how they're still mad. It's like y'all got everything.
Yeah,
every single thing. You got the house. You got you got everything. You got everything. You do what you want to do. You don't even hide it anymore. The president is getting on the on TV saying like there's nothing. This. You got it all. How are you mad? So, we're not playing the same game. But I hope that's not none of it. Were you done, Buff?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I hope none of this is frustrating you, because I hope you don't get a headache, because don't take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. That might have been one of his worst speeches yet. I was so amazed.
It's up there with inject yourself with bleach to fight COVID. It's
But I don't
pretty
feel
up
like
there.
that. But I feel like, if I remember correctly, he kind of said it and moved on. This dude doubled down.
So you were doing your opening remarks for
Yeah, just talking about Tylenol, and so Trump's remarks on Tylenol. You got to watch the clips. I can't do it any justice, but it was so. I've never seen anybody just be so wrong, so much, so long. He couldn't even.
He had a problem pronouncing the word, didn't he?
Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
He said, "God damn, y'all got some."
Yeah. But then, even when he was telling moms not to take the pregnant mothers not to take Tylenol because nothing but good could happen.
Right, which Tylenol even says, and they acknowledge, it's like, hey, you shouldn't be taking excessive Tylenol while you're pregnant. Like they had that. That's one of their disclaimers. But also has nothing to do with autism. Like that's the part that a lot of the autistic community
it says excessive. Doctors.
Right. Well, it says excessive. He's like, no, you shouldn't take Tylenol at all.
Tylenol.
Yeah.
And then he goes into vaccines and saying there's so much liquid. Just looks like they're pumping the little babies. They're so small, but like they're horses. It's like, dude, what? What are you? What? It's just
like trials don't exist. Like
Tylenol.
They haven't gone through so many iterations of how much they should be given and why and the efficacy of it and everything. Like it's the assault on science is probably one of the most frustrating things that I'm seeing out of this administration. Like,
well, it's assault on. I'm sorry.
On knowledge in general?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even the fact that there's so much of debate about fact checking now is ridiculous. And it's just weird. So you're talking about attack on knowledge. There's an attack on the Constitution constantly. I don't think I've ever seen so many attacks on the Constitution. One of the things, freedom of the press. Freedom of speech. So there's I was watching a news story in Houston on Houston Fox 26, and it was about a gentleman who had put up Halloween decorations that went viral. So, and it caused a lot of controversy. So Mark Rodriguez put a Halloween decoration. It was two people initially. Well, not two initially. Two people hanging from a noose. A man and a woman wearing masks, red hats, black shirts, khaki pants with zip ties in their pockets. Also had two Mexican flags and a guy standing in front wearing a colorful poncho. And his thoughts with the problems our community is having right now, it only seemed politically right to shed some light on it. By the way, his name is Mark Rodriguez, Mexican guy. Video's gone viral. He said he was surprised that many people liked it, and most comments were positive. When asked who the people represent, he said, people who wear masks and have red hats. So it looked like what some people would consider ICE agents. And it's on private property. They interviewed him. They interviewed his lawyer. He hasn't violated any laws. People are asking him to take it down and trying to sue and all that, but he hasn't violated any laws and hasn't committed any crimes. But it was very interesting because, we go straight to the comments, and it was the whole, if the shoe was on the other foot, if this was a POC, would it be a problem? And I'm just tired of it all. I'm tired of it all because there has been political satire.
Illegal, I will say it is tasteless. Because if it was a person of color hanging from a noose, I've seen those types of articles or, effigies go viral and people call that out as wrong, right? So I that's one that I'm like,
yeah, I get it. How different is this? Because it's not necessarily a hate crime. Anything that pisses somebody else off. He's not talking about white. He's not talking about black. He's just saying, hey, Here are ICE agents. Here are people who can be any denomination who represent this political faction of the government, who are the arm of this tyrant, that I'm saying, this is problematic. I mean, it makes me think to some of the political satire from old newspapers. At what point, you look at you go to Mardi Gras and you the comic cowboys, or what they were called. Mm-hmm. It's political satire, but we're in a world where it's so dangerous to have satire, because is it coming from a place of hate? Because if it was on the shoe was on the other foot, if it was two black people, we know what that means. We know there's no way to sugarcoat in the history behind hanging black people in blackface or blacks from anything. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for him, but it's like, where does the freedom of speech end? If it's not necessarily, would you consider that a hate crime? Would you consider it hate speech?
It's one, like you said, it's not a crime. I think, and that's why I say it's legal, but it's tasteless, right? It's something where you can't become the enemy. You can't say, well, they did it, so I can do it too, right?
Why not, Rise? It goes back to what Buff says. We always try to play the nice guy. It's like they get away with it.
I mean, I get it, but being a military officer, right? It's like how you win the war is just as important as if you win the war, right? Well, I mean, and so for me, it's how low can you go, right? Like when Michelle said, when they go high, we go low, or something like that. I mean, it's how low is low enough to where, okay, I'm down there with you, I'm fighting it, huh? Yeah, when they go low, we go high. Yeah, that's what she said. But I'm just saying, when they go low, we go lower is the rebuttal that I've heard people say. And the thing about it is, at certain point, you just down in the dump with them and doing things that
But what if that's
you
what
don't
it
have
takes?
the moral high ground anymore? I mean, the
moral
problem
high ground is the moral high ground has us where we're at right now.
Yeah,
and it's the fact that they know they can guilt trip us. I'm getting away from the story, but guilt trip us into, well, that's not right. Well, think about everything we've talked about, and we have so many examples of, one group doing something and then one other group does it one time. It's maybe we're talking to me, a lot of the people who are making a splash on the left right now are the people who are willing to go toe to toe with him for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I love me like a Jasmine Crockett or ALC or somebody like that. I'm that is totally different. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I don't think Jasmine Crockett has gotten on there and be like, hey, let's hang anybody in ICE, right, or anything like that. And so that's what I mean. Is like, how low is too low, right? And so yeah, you got to go down there. You got to get in the trenches with them. You got to actually be ready to knock heads. But what I'm saying is, at a certain point, you can't be a cop and be like, I'm going to murder people because they're murderers, right? Like that's vigilanteism, and that's why the Punisher and Batman and all the other folks is like, that's why they kind of end up on the bad side of the law a lot of times, right? And there's people that say, yeah, that's fine, they can go do that and they'll root for them, but ultimately,
and they get away with it.
You can't be a reputable government doing that. That's my thing.
We're past reputable.
You just got to find that balance.
But Byron, I said we're past reputable. I feel you 5 years ago. I feel you 10 months ago. I think we're just at a point where we have to figure out where the line is drawn for us as well. I'm not supporting him, but I'm not necessarily, we need to be the moral high ground. I mean, there's so much stuff that, even the conversations over the last couple of weeks with a gentleman that was killed in Utah. So we don't even want to say his name, right? That it's people were almost guilted into trying to feel sympathy and having any thoughts on it. The fact that we can't speak on it. The moral high ground is gone. It's fear now. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
I agree with both of y'all. I just think that I only want us to fight fire with fire when it has substance. This man having a tasteless Halloween decoration is not substance. But what Gavin Newsom is doing in California and trying to make more Democratic districts, that's fighting fire with fire. That's substance. So I see too many liberals, especially like on Twitter and stuff, they get so excited with certain jokes they come up with about Trump and the right, and everybody gets a laugh out of it. If you follow the Lincoln Project, they do a lot of that, and I'm like, none of that matters. None of it. Even if it's a great joke and you feel like you're owning the right for that day, none of that matters. So I don't care about defending this gentleman that came up with that Halloween decoration. I want them to fight back where it counts. So back in the day when you felt like gerrymandering was wrong and all that stuff, and you wanted to keep the moral high ground, that's the kind of they can't do anymore. That's where they got to say, okay, we're gonna fight fire with fire. So that's all I want. Like, so I've always hated that line Michelle Obama said, but it's not about going lower as far as the insults and things that Trump does. It's about legislatively fighting fire with fire, because we've seen. Last point, Obama, when he had the majority, the Obamacare vote was coming up. He actually waited till Massachusetts had that special election when he could have just went for it while they still had a Democratic senator in Massachusetts. Instead, he waited, and then Scott Brown got elected, and Obamacare got delayed even more. That's the kind of Republicans wouldn't have done that. And
Mhm.
we seen that firsthand with the whole Supreme Court thing when Justice Scalia died, and then when it was time for when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. So that's the kind of fire for fire I want to see the left do more.
Yeah,
Not
I
the
mean, they
jokes
changed the
and the
rules.
social
Did they
media
change the
posts.
rules so that they could get Trump's nominees through, and they confirmed like 48 of his picks all at the same time because they changed the
Yeah.
rules of the Senate, and well, you know, the Democrats had an option to do that, and they were like, no, we don't want to do that. We're not going to change the rules of the Senate, and blah 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 blah. And again, Republicans don't care, right?
But be
They'll do it.
smart though. Be smart, because the Dems tried to get rid of the filibuster. Thank God we still have the filibuster right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at where Congress is right now. So, but yeah, that's it. Oh, one other thing too, man, before we get into the questions. Ferg and I got to give you your props, Rozzy, since you didn't mention it, you humble bastard.
Okay, so what?
Rozzy just got recognized again. I'm not even entirely sure what it was for. Can you explain to the people why you were recognized and why you were celebrated, and why we always say that you are one of the smartest people that we know?
Yeah, sure. And it's because I hate being recognized. Like,
I don't want to hear all that. Whatever.
but
Just get on with it.
yeah,
Get on with it.
so I did. I mentioned that I was the president of the Black Alumni Network for UAB, and so
Right.
UAB National Alumni Society has an annual award ceremony that they do, and I was nominated and won the award for Volunteer of the Year. So basically, out of the thousands and thousands of alumni at UAB, they saw what I was doing for the alumni, for this university, for the community, and said, "Hey, we want to recognize him as Volunteer of the Year." And truthfully, I didn't think it was a big deal, right? Because I'm just kind of doing my thing out there, and in my acceptance speech, that's kind of what I talked about. Was like, for me, it's just what you do. I never thought of it as me doing anything normal. Ferg, you go out, you do all this stuff in the community. Byron, you're out there like protecting everybody all day, day in, day out. And I'm like, this is just what guys do, right? And that's how I looked at it. And so I never thought that it was a big deal, or that I was doing anything special. But while I was there, I think it kind of hit me when like a lot of people were walking up to me like, hey, you're doing great work. Hey, I appreciate what you're doing with the Black Alumni Network. Like, just keeping people engaged and the work that you guys are doing. Because it's not just us engaging Black alumni, it's us doing things, service projects, those types of things, giving back to like, TRIO and the minority scholars programs, and giving back to some of the like cook kitchens. They call it Blazer Kitchen and everything. So we do a lot of service projects on top of the social stuff and everything. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I've always done. I mean, all the way back to IKs in high school, right? Like, we did service. And so I was like, I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think what I was doing was so kind of out of the norm of what people do, until I got there and people were like, no, this is a big deal. What you do is a big deal. A lot of people wouldn't be able to do it. And so I just appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support. Brandon came up from New Orleans. He drove up. So he surprised me and was there for it. But again, I didn't think it was a big deal. So like, I think I put it in the group, or I think I shared it on Facebook or whatever when they announced it. But that was like the last time I mentioned it, because I was like, it's not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, I was really humbled. And that's why I ended up making that Facebook post about it, because I was like, I think it hit me after the fact that how big of a deal it was.
Ferg has said a lot of things on this show that have stuck with me. Matter of fact, in our group chat, Ferg, I told you what you recently said about our kids, and if they fail, they try to. You say a lot of things that stick with me, man. One of the things you said early on in this show was how we need to celebrate ourselves more, man. So I'm glad it hit you, Rozzy.
Good for you.
You deserved it, bro, and congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
bro.
man.
You deserve
Appreciate
it, man.
it.
Yeah, it's hard to do the extra stuff. Even though you feel like you should be doing it, it's extra. It's
Right.
it's you don't have to do it, and you committed to it.
So what are we one question episode today?
Yeah, we're 45 minutes already, so yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I was off like 10, but
all right.
Anybody got a good question?
I got one, but if y'all got one, it's not that important. But
I think I got the only one from last week. So
go ahead, Buff.
All right, man. So just watching Thursday Night Football last week. By the time you hear this show, maybe 2 weeks ago, and the Dolphins were playing the Bills, and they were showing Tyreek Hill, and just out of nowhere, they mentioned his domestic violence accusations and things like that. And one, I just wanted to ask you, brothers, is that something like it's been reported, it's out there? And I've always wondered, why does it have to be, like, if it's an accusation and he hasn't been found guilty yet or anything like that, like, how often does this have to be repeated? Is that oversaturated, or is that you want your fans to be as informed as possible? Like, obviously none of us have been NFL or sports analysts, but it almost seems like sports analysts are compelled to reveal this type of stuff whenever something's going on with an athlete. It's not even really a question. It's more like, what do you guys think? What are your feelings towards having to announce someone's allegations over and over again? Because clearly they're not serious enough. Allegations are serious, but they're still allowing him to play. So clearly the NFL is like, well, hey, he ain't found guilty yet. But also they're saying, make sure you mention it as much as possible. And full disclosure, I think he probably did it. But if he is completely innocent, you're probably not going to hear that part as much as you've heard the allegations. So I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on that. Like, you're watching a game and, people are always saying, keep football, keep sports. We don't need all the other outside. I want to use this as my escape. You know what I'm saying? So how is it your escape when you're reminded about the reality? So just your thoughts on, how y'all feel it.
I'll say I've been an MC for like smaller things, right? Like just trying to keep the vibe going in a party or an event or anything like that. And it's hard. It's hard to find things to talk about at random times throughout the day or throughout the night, right? And just be like, oh, I see you over there dancing in that corner, girl. Like, and so I think a bit of it is that with those analysts, it's like, oh, the camera has shot to Tyreek Hill. What can I say about him right now? And it's like, oh, he's got a DV. And so the other thing I think is when you mention kind of oversaturation or talking about it too much, if we had done that for R. Kelly every time he got on the screen, was like, he fucking 14-year-olds, or, Bill Cosby, hey, he got 32 rape allegations on him. I think it would have been better for everybody in that situation. And so I'm torn, right? Whether we should be bringing it up. I just want it to be equal.
Yeah,
I want them to. I'm fine with you saying, okay, Tyreek Hill has a DV on there, but when Brett Favre get up there, I need you to be like, hey, he stole all that money in Mississippi, right? So, like, I need y'all to talk about all these different things on everybody, and then I'm fine.
Like, remember Marv Albert had the sexual assault allegations where he allegedly bit a woman, and I just don't remember when they allowed him to come back and call games, like his co-host saying, and by the way, before we get started, just remember, Yeah, Marv Albert likes to bite women, and so he served his time for that, and now he's back. Or like when Rob Kraft was alleged of going to massage parlors in Miami and paying for
Happy
after
endings.
bases. Yeah, whatever like that. When a Patriots game is on, I just don't remember them showing him. By the way, the owner of the Patriots, he likes to.
Well,
he's alleged to like in happy endings.
well, I think it shows. I think I agree with Rozzy that when you're in a world where you're trying to entertain, we tune in to watch the game, but part of the entertainment is hearing them discuss the game, inform us what's going on to the casual fan and things like that. And in between plays and stuff, like, you want to be engaged. You don't want it just to be like, all right, it's 3rd and 3. I think they're gonna run a draw. Like you want it as almost like a barbershop style thing. Like they want the banter. What it shows to me is human nature. It shows their biases. Like you said, hey, this white man got accused of something. It's a one-off. He's a very powerful man. To me, it almost shows their thoughts on these black players and stuff like that. You mentioned people. The reason it wasn't mentioned in Bill Cosby, the reason it wasn't mentioned a million times in the platforms that we were watching is because probably the people were talking about it had a different belief or bias towards or unbiased towards Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. Like, we knew it in the public for years that R. Kelly was messing with young chicks. We didn't talk about it because the bias wasn't there.
Yeah. And on top of that, they may have been doing it, right? Or at least okay with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why the Epstein files aren't out, right? There's so many powerful people that either knew about it or were at least complicit with it, even if they didn't participate. And so I think it's a little bit of that too, where, a lot of times they're like, yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing about that one because, man, it's not that bad. Yeah.
But I mean, it's human nature. I think they talk about people who are probably not, that are different from them. It highlights young black athlete, DV charge. Here we go again. Right? This is what they do. If it was insert Jason Kelsey or like it would have been like, oh my God, he's been the face of the NFL for so long. This is just, this is surprising from Kelsey. I think he found himself and he's been in his relation. Like, it'll be a whole different commentary. I'm assuming. I don't know. But the narrative is very different. And that's because of their biases come out when you're talking about these things. Are they doing it too much? Probably. But it's just what's on their mind. Every time they see that little nigga that catches the football.
You almost said it.
I said it anyway.
Yeah, you did.
That catches the football, certain things pop in their head,
But we're in that spirit though. When the athlete is found or even proven to be not guilty, then do you feel like you hear that part as much?
No, because they still think he did it.
I actually do sometimes. I mean, when you think about it, a lot of times, they're like, oh yeah, he beat that DV charge or he was cleared of that, like, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, I do see, I hear that a little bit, but that doesn't sell as well. Or the situation's over at that point. And so they're going to talk about it for a week or two, right? Well, that DV charge might be outstanding for 3 months or a whole season, right? He's got to go to court in January for it or whatever. So they're talking about it a lot longer. You hear about it and then, okay, it's over. All right, I'll say it once, maybe twice, and then they're done with it. And now they're not talking about it at all anymore. So I think that's a little bit of the media cycle, the news cycle versus them saying every time, oh, remember when he had that DV? Because you don't hear that a lot either. You don't, once they're cleared, you don't hear them talking about the DV as much.
Do you think it's professionalism or it's just like it's out of sight, out of mind? It's nothing to talk about anymore.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the news cycle has moved on. At that point, there's nothing else to talk about. So I'm not going to talk about it, whether he's cleared or he had it in the past. We're over it at that point. We're done.
And they do it all the time. I guess this one just stood out to me because I don't know if you watched the game, but it was almost like awkward. Like usually when they do it, it's in a better flow. But like they did it and then they just immediately went to like some highlights. It's like it was like no transition or anything. Damn, they just threw that in there. Hey, as Ferg would say, this little nigga, he may or may not have beat his wife,
Yes.
choked her a few times. But look at this catch right here he did on the key third down.
See those big
They got
hands?
Miami at first.
Hey,
Those
they
hands.
did a Donald Trump. They did a Donald Trump. Yeah, that sucks. But did
Oh,
you
yeah.
see this? The ballroom. Like
That listen, without saying specifics, that was funny. I'm sorry. That was funny. I'm fine. By the way, look at those trucks over there. God damn. That's all I got, man. That actually was pretty short, man. Hopefully we got time for one more. We got time for one more.
we should be able to squeeze one in. Yeah.
Let's stick with football.
You got it.
We had a debate.
Okay.
We kind of talked about this yesterday, a group of us, and it was talking about expansion teams and who has the right to claim who. So, like, let's go. I'm in Houston. So you have the Texans, you have the Oilers, you have the Texans, and you have the Titans, who are all linked to Houston, right? There's no more Oilers. And they were like, well, the Titans get to claim Warren Moon and get to claim they were just naming all these people. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, but they claim. I'm like, I don't.
No.
So how does that work? Who gets to claim who? Because they were saying they even went as far as the Ravens claiming like Jim Brown.
What?
And I'm like, because
to me, this is a difficult question. To me, there's two answers. There's what the fan base can claim, and then there's what the ownership / franchise can claim. And so because the Baltimore Ravens were the Cleveland Browns before they moved, and as a franchise in franchise history, Steve Bisciotti, who bought the team from Art Modell, they can honor Jim Brown. It's kind of difficult though, because obviously the new Cleveland Browns, they're gonna claim him. And it's difficult too, because Cleveland actually got Houston got their team back, but now they're the Texans. It's not like they still call themselves the Oilers. With Cleveland, it makes it extra difficult because they got their team back and they kept it the Browns. And so it's kind of easy to say, hey, I don't know if the Houston Texans can claim Warren Moon because this is a completely different franchise. Fans of the Tennessee Titans, no, you
right.
So
but as that franchise,
the Titans gonna claim them.
The franchise history. That's part of the history.
Hold on.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
So let's stick with Houston. Let's stick with Houston first. So
okay.
Moon.
Yes. Where does he get honored? When he comes back and gets honored, does Warren go to the Texans, or does he say, I'm going to Nashville?
I'm asking you.
Where does he get honored?
I'm asking you. Is he in their ring of honor? Who? You know, if they get to the Super Bowl,
I think
Moon showing up at the Titans game.
I almost think legally, I don't even know if that applies to this. I almost think legally he goes to Tennessee, because that is the team formerly known as the Houston Oilers. The Houston Texans are literally an expansion team. They're brand new. They have no ties to Houston Oilers. That's just a city that got a team again and called it the Texans. You get me?
So if the franchise moves, then that history goes with the franchise.
Yes.
And so
yes.
In that case, yes, it's the Titans that would take it and take that franchise history. And to your point, the Houston, the Texans would be a new expansion. They don't have any history before then.
Like in basketball, if Seattle gets another basketball team, I don't think they're going to call them the Supersonics. But like right now, OKC is who honors
Sean Kemp.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough question. That's tough, man. But I'm gonna stick with that. So I think the fan base can't, but the franchise,
but the fans are the
history
fans,
of the franchise.
So if I grew up a Warren Moon fan and I'm a Texan fan, I can't claim more Warren Moon unless I'm a Titans fan. I mean, that's what you're telling me.
But fans is fans, right? You don't necessarily
before Houston moved to Nashville, they couldn't claim anything with Warren Moon, right? But then Houston,
they still did. They were the Oilers.
The Oilers moved to Nashville, so now, I mean, it's tough.
Okay,
but I'm gonna stick with my answer though.
Okay, that's a little easier. So Who gets Jim Brown?
You know what? Baltimore should let Cleveland have it. They should let them have it.
I do think, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're still the Browns.
But the franchise,
the franchise
is the Ravens.
Right.
Cleveland Browns 2.0, 1.5 is now they were an expansion.
And let me tell you this too. Y'all know I go to Ravens games. They have a statue of Johnny Unitas outside of M&T Bank Stadium. Yeah. And the Colts moved to Indianapolis, but Baltimore as a city or whatever,
the Colts
still claims
can't claim Johnny U.
Because Johnny was Baltimore Colts. He wasn't Indianapolis Colts, right?
I'm just yes or no.
I'm just saying Baltimore just nuked. I'm just saying Baltimore just nuked my whole argument.
When you were a Colts fan,
so they just nuked my whole argument. Because the Indianapolis Colts also honor Johnny U. So maybe both. I don't know. Maybe both.
I do. I think it's both. So that really kind of was going to be my answer. I think the city can kind of claim them for the city, and then the franchise can claim them from the franchise. So if it moves. So if you played for this franchise, then no matter where that franchise moves, that franchise still can kind of say, unless that franchise dies and then they spin up a whole new franchise in the new city, then at that point they can't do it anymore. But
so the team can't claim them. So the Texans can't claim them, but the city can claim Warren Moon.
Yes, because Warren Moon gave that city those memories and those moments.
Right.
Not the Texans, but the city of Houston.
Right.
And so I guess that's what Baltimore is doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a Ray Lewis statue and there's a Johnny Unitas statue.
Yeah. So your stadium, because the stadium is going to be there regardless. You got to think a lot of times the stadium's kind of co-owned by the city and the franchise, or it's sponsored by the city, right? And the franchise just plays there. So you got to also think about that. So I think when you talk about statues outside of stadiums and things like that, I think that's more of the city than it is the franchise. And so that city kind of owns that historical, like, just knowledge or being able to kind of support that person. So I think it's both. I think the city can own it. I think they follow the franchise. If it's a new franchise like the Texans, they really don't get a chance. Like you said, where is he going to go to get recognized? I think he's going to Tennessee for that.
Even though he's never stepped foot in Tennessee. I'm just saying. Like Tennessee fans,
he really doesn't have a home.
Tennessee fans probably like I don't.
He was never a Texan.
Tennessee fans don't care. You think Tennessee fans are like, oh my God, it's Warren Moon. He meant so much to us, right?
No.
This was a wrench. Now they throw in their argument. So you got the St. Louis Rams. So can they like now kind of co-parent at this point? Like, is a St. Louis fan now a Rams fan? And anything the Rams do, can they take credit for that? Or they just like, you lost the kid in a divorce?
They both got something to celebrate too, because the LA Rams have won a Super Bowl and the St. Louis Rams won one. So, and currently St. Louis doesn't even have a team. So
are they co-parenting? Are they in a very just, I mean.
They co-parenting, man.
So if St. Louis does get a new team, right, do they get to claim all the history of everybody that was there in St. Louis?
I don't, because didn't they used to be, St. Louis had a team before the Rams, didn't they? Didn't they have a team before them?
Were they?
I don't think they would have. That was the first time they had a team. I almost said the Cardinals, but that is the baseball team.
Now I got to look it up.
Right. Like it was the Cardinals. They had the St. Louis Cardinals from 60 to 87.
Yeah.
And then the Rams came back in 95. So, yeah, I would say if they get another team,
they can, the St. Louis Rams and the St. Louis Cardinals, anything that happened for those teams,
so they get
to take credit for.
There's nothing really to celebrate with the Cardinals. But, so, I thought about, now I think about the players themselves that are orphaned. Think about all these great Hall of Fame players who are orphaned.
I'm thinking about that with Warren Moon.
Yeah.
Right now. Where's his name right now? Is it in Texan Stadium or is it in Nashville?
This became a debate last night. I'm like, it's kind of a show question.
Yeah. It could be, I mean, They just get honored in two different towns, like Johnny Unitas.
I don't know, but that was my question. I just wanted to keep it in football.
Okay, 2 short questions. We did that.
So the Titans retired Warren Moon's #1 jersey in 2006 and inducted him into the team's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so he's a Titans Hall of Famer.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
See, it would be like the perfect scenario would be like if he played during Steve McNair's time, because McNair played for the Oilers and the Titans.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been like I could see both.
Yeah. So yeah, the Titans definitely claim a McNair, but
yeah,
Moon. It was just random question. I don't even know how we got there, and
that's how conversations happen, man. You start off in one spot.
We were really debating. I'm like, there's no way in hell the Titans gonna honor Warren Moon. Nope, not gonna allow it. No. They brought up Seattle, brought up St. Louis, brought up the Ravens. It was just So I still the
Raiders
Ravens
gonna have that same situation, right?
Man, the Raiders. Yeah. Raiders have been what? L.A., Oakland, and Las Vegas.
Yep.
But then the L.A. But L.A. get the claim. Now the L.A. Who they claim? The Rams or the
Chargers, Raiders, Rams. That's crazy.
With minimal success.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fellas, go ahead and close it on out.
Only thing I got, man, I was going to thank everybody for the accolades and everything from the UAB Alumni Volunteer of the Year. But once again, appreciate everybody for that. And other than that, man, I just want to say, Murphy, y'all need to step it up because Williamson whooped Murphy 100-0. It was like 70-something to 0 at the half there. And so that was kind of one of the worst butt whippings I've seen in a long time. And I'm just surprised, even with their second string, they put their second string in like after the first quarter. And even with the second string, they went up that much. And so I don't know if they had water boys out there the second half, whatever. But they still ended up scoring another 25, 30 points on them boys.
They went in.
Murphy,
It was
I need y'all to step it was
up. 70. They went in 73 zip, of course, at half.
Yeah.
That's
some talent and that's some good coaching. If your second stringers are putting up that and your third stringers or whatever is even in after the half is still putting up points like that.
And they tried to do a running clock, like to kind of expedite the process. And the Murphy coach refused until fourth quarter.
He's like, we're coming back.
I think their QB was responsible for their starting QB was responsible for 8 touchdowns in the first half.
Crazy.
I mean, you can't even fight at that point. Like y'all better at life. Just better. So you can't even get mad and like, dog, let's just fight them. Like, nah, dog, we don't want them. We don't want them problems.
Right.
Yeah, well, young men that lost, keep your heads up
and get better.
Your lady, you can't say nothing to your lady. Can't say nothing. Nada. Who you talking to? You weren't talking to them boys at Williamson like that.
Oh man, that's all you got?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So we like to talk about shows on this show a lot, and Reasonable Doubt is now in its 3rd season on Hulu, and it's a show that I like to criticize, but still enjoy. In season 1, it was the wigs that they had on her. Season 2, they brought my man Morris Chestnut in there, and it was really good. And now they're in the midst of season 3, man. So it's on. Check it out. I hate that they're only doing it like 1 episode a week. I be wanting to binge things. So I hate that. We've talked about controversial people being killed, but I want to talk about somebody that actually matters to me. Asada Shakur. She wasn't killed, but she just passed away. And for those that don't know, she was accused of killing a state trooper. And while she was waiting on sentencing, I think, because she had already had a trial.
She already had a trial. Yep.
Yeah, broke out of prison and had been hiding in Cuba ever since. She's also the auntie of Tupac Shakur. So, I've always been fascinated at the fact that she got away. And from the evidence I've seen, she probably didn't kill him. And we do know that Black people have been set up and accused of things they didn't do. So that is the angle that I am believing. But rest in peace to her, man. She was a civil rights activist, and it's sad to see her pass away. And also, man, I just want to let you guys and the listeners know my struggles, man. Like I am so pleased with my daughter's new high school and the opportunities that they are providing her. Anybody with teenagers know that you have to push them at times. And as an adult, I'm thinking like, man, I would be jumping at this opportunity. I didn't even have these type of opportunities. But you also have to remember when you were a teenager, unless you were somebody like Rozzy, you were probably lazy. And I know I was lazy because
Rozzy was lazy.
it just came to
Yeah,
him that,
Rozzy
well,
was lazy.
I definitely didn't push myself, man. So I have to remember that. And so I have this balance to where you force her to take advantage of these opportunities, or do you present her with the pros of pursuing it? And if she chooses not to, it's on you. Or like I say, do you force her to do it? So I'm constantly battling that because I don't want to force her to do things, and she doesn't put her all into it because it's not something she wants to do. But luckily, I think so far she's been making great decisions. Page program didn't want to do it, but she did it because she knew I wanted her to do it, and she wound up loving it. Other things, she's been like, nah, I don't want to do that. But most recently, her school set her up with a Zoom call with Princeton University, and she wasn't excited about doing it, but to her credit, she did it, and I think it was so informational, man. It was, man, I think I might have enjoyed it more than she did. But those are the things that I battle, man, because I'm always like, should I force her to do this or let her try to make her own decision? So I'm praying that I'm making the right decisions and that she's making the right decisions, because what I do know is she has big aspirations. She's mentioned going to school in California. I'm not paying for that. I can't pay for that. So you need to do whatever you can to get these scholarships. But yeah, man, that's it. I just wanted to be a little open and vulnerable
Yeah, congrats
about
to
that.
her, man. Congrats to, but like you said earlier in the show, and Ferg said, right, like if our kids fail, it's because they tried or they were just way too lazy, right? Like, and I think is finding that balance of when to push them and when to let them be lazy is hard, right? And they're not gonna like you all the time. Sophie didn't want to try debate, and I was just like, no, you're going to do it. And I said, give me 1 year. After that, if you don't like it, cool. And she tried back again this year, right? Because she enjoyed it enough, at least. Same with Ollie in football. I was like, give me a year. If you learn to love it, learn to like it, give me 1 more year. Like let's build a love for something. You're not going to love everything instantly, and it can still be really good for you. And I think that's part of parenting, man. I mean, you're doing a great job being able to say, hey, you have to do this. I don't care if you don't want to do it. You're going to do it. Even if they go in kind of half-assed with it a little bit, but at least they'll come away saying, okay, I did learn something there. So you do a good job of balancing that, man. So, and just being aware of, I'm not going to force you into everything. There are things
Yeah.
that you have to do, and there's things that I want you to do, but you can say no. And then there's stuff that, hey, if you want to do it, cool. If not, no big deal. I mean, so there's levels to it, and everything isn't a 100%. I told you to do it. You got to do it. So good
Yeah,
job to you, man.
yeah, great job, bro. Great job, both of you guys. And I think Rozzy, I agree with you on so much of that. I think it's the balance, right? You have to have the discernment, and parenting is it's a verb. Like it's a constant thing you're doing. There's things that she's not going to get because she's not supposed to get at this point. That's why God blessed her with you and Tab, right? It's the things we had, things that I can guarantee our parents saw that, man, I wish I had these opportunities. And we have even just going to LaFleur itself, going to a predominantly black magnet school, that was just different. And so it's that balance, what Rozzy said, of the things that you're just going to, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is the things I would like you to do that you don't have to do. But then at the same time, there might be things that she wants to do that you have to consider being open to as well, but also using that same discernment as a parent. Because right now, both of my kids are in mixed martial arts, and there's days she's 10, she's preteen, and there's days that she just doesn't want to go, and she'll kind of have that little attitude, that look on her face, trying to look at you to make sure you understand she's upset, and I'm looking at her like I care less. And so it starts at 5:15, and I put a timer on her. I put a timer on her, and the other day I'm like 5:17. She just kept running. She's like, "What does that mean?" So we walk back to the car. I'm like, "Did you hear me say 5:17?" She's like, "Yeah, I remember." She's like, "Yeah, that's by 5:17 you were smiling. Like that's when you cracked your first smile." And Zia tell you she smiles all practice, sparring and all this stuff. So it's not meant for. Sometimes you got to push it, and we would all try to get out of things. It's the path of least resistance. That's just part of life. And I love what you said, Razi. Sometimes you're gonna have to learn not to love stuff. Like, hey, you still got to do this. I don't want to do. They've all probably been lazy dealing with kids and not wanting to bathe and do certain things. Like, I don't care. Like, go take a bath. Go do your homework. They're gonna always push back. That's their job. You're a parent. They're a kid. It's a battle. I'm at just the beginning stages of that battle. But mine was that the last thing, Buff?
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
it.
mine really and I missed out on this last week just because I was having computer issues and I was rushing. I would be remiss without saying happy birthday to the love of my life, the beautiful, just my everything. My wife Z, she just turned beautiful this past week. I don't give ages out. She just turned beautiful, but it was we had a great weekend last weekend, really celebrated her, and then Monday we had the privilege of going to a Raphael Sadiq concert. And it was actually, when she talked about the tickets, I was kind of it's, I mean, he made good music, but if you would have said Tony, I'd have felt a little more pressed to go.
Knowing what,
Yeah, but it was actually, he put on a really good show. So if you have a chance to go see him live, I would say just temper your expectations. He puts on a really good live show, but it's a one-man show. So it's almost like a unplugged tiny desk situation where there's stuff in the background, visuals. He has a bunch of instruments on the stage, and he just walks you through his life and how things came about. So you get a better understanding of him. You get to see his personality shine. He's such a talented brother. He played bass, guitar, piano. He's almost 60 years old, looked great, was up there moving, and it's just, he had a vibrant spirit. So if you ever get a chance, if he does come to your city, go see him. Tickets are really reasonable. I think you'll enjoy it. So with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.